Hello, and welcome to our gathering for Memorial Day weekend here at First Unitarian Universalist Church of Stockton. We're glad you've joined us and hope that you will find here what you are seeking. We are a community of individuals holding many different beliefs, coming from many different places, and each progressing on our own journeys of life and faith. We join together in our commitment to care for humanity and our effort to shape a better, healthier, more accepting, more inclusive, and more hopeful world. We promise to accept and encourage all those persons of goodwill who gather here, recognizing that we all continue to grow and learn throughout our lifetimes. We especially welcome and stand with LGBTQ persons, even as we seek to welcome all persons of every age, ability, status, color, and ethnicity. We strive to make our community a place of peace and acceptance, love, and nurture, even as we challenge ourselves and others to live more faithfully according to the values of Unitarian Universalism. Now, I have a couple of announcements that I want you to be aware of. We have decided that we are going to reopen the church on June 13th, which is 2 weeks from this weekend. On June 6th, we will be having a Zoom service, and you can find information for that on our website. And then on June 13th, we're going to be moving our service to 9:30 start time. And so the service will run essentially from 9:30 to 10:30. And then that day will also be our annual congregation meeting, which will start about 15 minutes after the service concludes, somewhere around 10:45 or 11 o'clock. And we hope that members will be here for that. We hope everyone will join us when we gather together for the first time after COVID on June 13th. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Bhakti with our Prelude.
Our opening words today are from Kathleen McTeague. They are still with us. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives we belong to, the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared. They are still with us. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living. Let us name those who lend strength in our lives. Our chalice lighting words today are, we light our chalice in memory and honor of all those who died to protect, preserve, and care for our country. At this time in our service, we take a few moments to greet one another. You might greet people in your mind if you're just watching this as a recorded service. Let us read our words of affirmation together. I'll read all the parts and you can read whichever part you like. We believe in love. Love is the only doctrine of this church. We believe in truth. The quest for truth is our sacrament. We believe in helping others, and service is our prayer. We believe in the sacredness of life. To dwell together in peace, seek knowledge and freedom, serve humanity and fellowship, and cherish the earth and its creatures. This do we covenant, each with the other.
This time in our service, we share milestones in our lives by lighting candles of joy and concern. And as I have often done during this last year, I light a candle for all those who suffer from COVID. One more for those whose jobs have been affected. Another for all those celebrations that we haven't been able to share because we haven't been able to be together. One in hope that we're soon going to be able to gather and that the pandemic, at least in this country, is getting better. One for the concerns in the world. Hopefully there will be a ceasefire in the Middle East. There's at least possibilities of that, and hopefully the situation in India will ease as COVID has had such a negative effect there. I'd like one more for all those things that are in our thoughts and minds, but we're not quite ready to share, as I invite us into a time of silent thought, prayer, and meditation. In this time that we set aside for worship, we remember all those who have given their lives for this country. This Memorial Day weekend, we think of those who have served in so many roles, particularly those who have died in the military in serving their country, but all those who served in so many ways to make this the great country that it is. We take time to think of all those people that we have lost in this past year. Those who are well known and those who are known to only a few of us. We remember each of them and we celebrate their lives during this service of memorial. We give thanks for the goodness of this church community, where we can share our stories, support each other, be there when there is a need. And we especially give thanks that we shall soon be physically able to be together as the pandemic eases, at least in this area. For all these things, we give thanks this day. Amen. And now I invite you to join in singing Spirit of Life, is number 123 in the hymnal.
Our responsive reading is We Need One Another by George E. Odell. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat when with encouragement we might endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us. At this time in our service, we share our gifts and offerings. We depend on the pledges and gifts of our members and friends and ask that you give generously according to your means. Any contribution should be sent to our church office, 2737 Pacific Avenue, Stockton, California, 95204.
Memorial Day thoughts. Memorial Day in its origins was intended to celebrate those who were killed during war. But in this era of wars against so many things, including COVID-19, it seems appropriate to remember all those who have died whom we wish to remember as a community. It also seems appropriate to me to remember all those who served, who have now passed into the great beyond. During this past year, it has been impossible to adequately celebrate the lives of so many who died from whatever causes during the pandemic. I invite us to remember those who died serving the country, those who served and have died since, and all those other souls we would like to remember. The person closest to me who was adversely affected by military service was my dad. He landed in the European theater of war in a glider in the 82nd Airborne in World War II. He fought at the Battle of the Bulge, but I know few details. He didn't talk about battles. He did talk about people he met in the military and friends he made in Belgium. He sketched and photographed planes and gliders and ordinary scenes. He most likely had nightmares of the war that affected him decades later, probably had some PTSD. Even so, he was the kindest, gentlest man I have ever known, rarely even expressing frustration, even when appropriate. I often think of my dad for all kinds of reasons, but over Memorial Day, I remember his service to the country. Too many men and women have died in service to our country and to every other country. Someday we will create a better way to resolve international differences, at least I hope we will. For too long, young men and women have given up their lives, too often for economic causes. My hope is that even before humans colonize this sector of the universe, we will find ways to ensure that everyone has enough and avoid such destructive behaviors as war. For today, we remember our beloved dead, all those who touched our lives and have passed on from this life. May we honor them with our love. This reading is from the UU Ministers Association Handbook of 1956. To live is to take part in the world's venture. To live is to be a partner in that endless creation that goes on from age to age. The life of each of us makes a difference. The world, the course of history, the fine-spun web of human love, these are changed forever by every man and woman who lives. How then can a life cease to be? Each life sets its mark on the universe, a mark that neither time nor death shall erase. Each of us changes the world eternally. No life can ever again be as nothing that once has had its part in the world's creation. In the fellowship of love, we never cease to live. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace.
Number 719 in our hymnal is written by George Elliot. It's entitled, Those Who Live Again. Oh, may I join the choir invisible of those immortal dead who live again in minds made better by their presence. Live in pulses stirred to generosity, in deeds of daring rectitude, in scorn of miserable aims that end with self, in thoughts sublime that pierce the night like stars, and with their mild persistence urge our search to vaster issues. So to live is heaven, to make undying music in the world, breathing a beauteous order that controls with growing sway the growing life of humanity. That better self shall live till human time folds its eyelids, and the human sky be gathered like a scroll within the tomb. This is life to come, which martyred souls have made more glorious for us who strive to follow. May I reach that purest heaven, be to other souls the cup of strength in some great agony. Enkindle generous ardor, feed pure love, beget the smiles that have no cruelty. Be the sweet presence of a good diffused, and in diffusion ever more intense. So shall I join the choir invisible, whose music is the gladness of the world. Next reading is from Edna St. Vincent Millay, from Dirge Without Music. I am not resigned to the shedding away of loving hearts in the hard ground. So it is, and so it will be, for so it has been, time out of mind. Into the darkness they go, the wise and the lovely. Crowned with lilies and with laurel they go. But I am not resigned. Lovers and thinkers into the earth with you, be one with the dull, the indiscriminate dust. A fragment of what you felt, of what you knew. A formula of phrase remains, but the best is lost. Down, down, down into the darkness of the grave, gently they go, the beautiful, the tender, the kind. Quietly they go, the intelligent, the witty, the brave. I know, but I do not approve, and I am not resigned. Do not go gentle into that good night, by Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words have forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my Father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glint on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you wake in the morning hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circling flight. I am the soft starlight at night. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep.
Now, as we end this service, I invite you to virtually join hands, linking with all those you know in this congregation, all those you'd like to invite. Remember that this church is dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences, beneath all our diversity, there's a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together, in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. We pause in silent witness to that unity. Now, these words from a Pueblo closing ceremony: hold on to what is good, even if it is a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it is a tree that stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it is a long way from here. Hold on to life, even if it is easier letting go. Hold on to my hand, even when I have gone away from you. Now, love has spent this time with us, and love takes us forward from this place into the rest of our lives. Go now in peace, have a safe rest of the weekend, and come back and join us again. Amen.